everyone. It's an honor to be a part of this amazing event. Thank you for having me. And a special shout out to Poppy Northcutt for continuing to be such a marvelous inspiration to us all. Lucky for me, it's not at all intimidating to follow a history-making, Medal of Freedom winning role model to women the world over. I mean, no pressure, right? Well, wrong, obviously. But it kind of makes it perfect too, because I'm here to talk about confidence, the kind of personal confidence I needed to find to achieve success in Silicon Valley's Boys Club. My goal? I'm going to cut through the BS and give you the unvarnished truth about what it takes to get your bold on, to find your fearless, and to claim your seat at the winner's table. Spoiler alert, it's no cakewalk, but if I can do it, you can do it too, and I'm here to show you how. First, it'll help to understand that as shocking as it may sound, I wasn't always confident to the core. Nice outfit, right? And such voluminous hair. Thank goodness for perms. Yes, I'd worked 4 jobs to pay my own way through college, no parental support. I had a can-do, ready-for-anything spirit, and clearly I knew how to dress for success, right? My first job out of school was as a claims adjuster in the insurance industry, traditionally a male-dominated field. And after an MBA, followed by working as a management consultant and software consultant, I made my way to Silicon Valley, the high-tech home of the bro culture. While I started making strides, I wasn't what I'd call bold. Of course, in the early stages of your career, you're obviously at the bottom of the totem pole. Some days can feel downright soul-crushing for anyone, but for women, it can be a little tougher than it is for men. You work your butt off, often to be upstaged by men, many of whom don't always work as hard as you do, yet still seem to have the inside track. I learned something early on that left me in a perpetual state of WTF. You're a few years in, and you're in a meeting where you offer a brilliant solution to a serious business problem or technology issue, and crickets. A few moments later, a guy sitting across the table says the exact same thing. And it's like, brilliant, why hasn't anyone ever thought of that before? I was once in a software position and had written all of these thought leadership posts for the company blog. They'd already been published and were very well received. Somebody went in and took my name off the posts and replaced it with the name of a fellow in upper management. They took all my ideas and they put them under his name. Not cool, but I'm pretty sure many of you would also say, not uncommon. Years later, I was spearheading the development of a technology demo for a presentation at a huge industry conference, only to have it repackaged so a couple of guys could present it instead. Even as you climb the ranks, it's not uncommon to have the door going into management meetings start to close on you, as if surely you don't belong there. Well, no, I do belong here. For me personally, something changed about 5 years ago. I had this amazing moment of clarity that changed my life forever. In 2015, I'm in charge of a prospect evaluation of Guidewire, a fantastic company that develops solutions for the insurance industry. I've been there a decade and have played an integral role in the company's journey from startup to mature post-IPO success story. In a time when the tech industry was 99% male, I led the company's cross-functional team in closing the largest deal in its history. I kind of had it going on. Yet one day, this corporate COO came to our executive briefing center to learn more about our solutions. Despite the fact that I led the customer evaluation, he strides in, walks right past me to shake the hands with the sales rep, a guy. So I calmly introduced myself. Hello, I'm Drabik, and I'll be facilitating the meeting today. And he looks at me as if he's waiting for me to get him coffee. After I was done presenting, this COO starts directing his questions to the sales rep. Now, this sales rep is a great guy, but he's got a fraction of my industry experience. So he says, well, Laura's right here, and she's the expert. It was ridiculous. It also wasn't any worse than any other slights that I and any other woman face on a regular basis. But for me, it was a pivotal moment. I remember it like it was yesterday. That night after the briefing, I walk in my front door, I put my keys down, and I catch my reflection in the entryway mirror, and I think, things have got to change. No matter how small the incident, no matter how laughable the insult du jour, I can either continue to let these things chip away at my self-worth and my sense of belonging, or I can make changes that will eventually enable me to command the respect I deserve. It didn't happen overnight, and it certainly wasn't a picnic. But today, these incidents don't happen to me anymore. I'm able to carry myself in a way that commands respect. My opinion is never discounted, and I'm seen as a leading authority in my company and in my industry. All because I had the temerity to take risks and start laying the groundwork for success. Which is why I'm so excited to be here with you today. I recognize that we all crave the opportunity to share our unique talents and make important contributions in bold and creative ways. We live and work in a time and place that are transforming industries and changing the world. Yet all too often, there can be what Forbes magazine has called a confidence gender gap. Study after study shows that men overestimate their abilities and performance while women underestimate their own, even when they're just as good as men at what they do. And it costs women invaluable opportunities, not for lack of competency, but from lack of confidence. Other studies show women who work in tech are interrupted in meetings more often than men. Remember the COO from the briefing center? It turns out 88% of women have had clients and colleagues direct questions to male peers that should have been addressed to them. And the contributions of female coders is second-guessed more often than men, unless the gender of the contributor is unknown. Little, if any, of this is overt sexism, but it is a kind of bias that, combined with our own self-criticism, can leave women feeling like we're not really good enough to be here, even when we are. But to get a seat at the table, it's not about resenting double standards or tallying up inequities. It's about overcoming them. It's about proving our worth and earning respect. The good news? I've cracked the bro code so you don't have to. In my quest to find confidence in a male-dominated tech culture, I discovered 3 key steps for finding your own. Step 1, say yes to everything. When I stood there looking into the mirror that night, I made a conscious decision that for every project that anybody came to me for, I would say yes. Why? Because I realized I needed to build my knowledge, to read, learn, and push myself in ways that men might not have to. Because ladies, nobody is ever going to pay attention to us unless we stand head and shoulders above everyone else around us. I'd have to know more and achieve more if I wanted to attain an aura of authority. Step 2, get shit done. Once you've started accumulating that knowledge, you have to execute. You can't just be an idea person. You have to demonstrate your abilities. A big part of that is to prepare. Not just for the big stuff, but for every stinking meeting, no matter how small. But here's the thing. Once you've taken on all those projects and you have a few wins under your belt, you start to realize, I'm good at this. And you start to find your voice. Something else happens too. We begin to weave ourselves into the fabric of our organizations. We become indispensable, and it's a great place to be. Step 3, when you've proven yourself, claim your seat at the table. We've all been there. You walk into the conference room, there's the table with a set number of chairs around it. Then there's the outer layer of chairs against the wall. I used to walk in and head straight for the chairs by the wall. I didn't feel like I'd earned a spot at the grown-ups table. But no more. When I walk into the conference room, I sit at the table. And if there isn't room, I make room. I've earned my right to sit there. I've got more experience and more competency than many of the other people taking the other seats. Nobody is ever going to say, here, have a spot at the table. And if you've taken a seat before you're ready, you're in for a world of embarrassment. You have to earn it. Don't put yourself at the table if you're not going to talk. Wait until you can be confident in your assertions. And once you take this seat, it's like making it to the mountaintop. You want to stay there and keep your place. For me, it took a little longer to get there, but 3 years ago, I found myself saying, I'm there, I'm ready, I'm claiming my place right now. There's one last thought I want to leave you with. Something that will bring a different perspective to what it means to find your confidence. I often go to these women's suppers where there's plenty of wine and lots of unfiltered truths. You hear complaints about the lack of diversity in tech, and invariably, someone will say it. Women are each other's worst enemies. And it's true. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's competition in an environment where there are only so many opportunities for women. We've all heard of instances where a woman earns the respect of male peers only to be undercut by other women, or women of one generation undermining those of another. Ladies, let's start breaking each other's kneecaps and start being each other's champions instead. For me, it's about reaching out, extending a hand, and bringing up the next woman or the next person of color, someone who might be a bit of an underdog, and I help them. I don't want to have a scarcity mentality that hoards limited opportunities. I want to have an abundance mentality that embraces the notion that there's plenty of success to go around. And there's another reason I work to be an advocate and mentor for young people. This is our adopted daughter, Claire. Her birth mother was 17 years old, and after choosing us based on our profile, she said the coolest thing. She said, I want someone for my daughter who's going to make her into someone. And this always touches me. She said, I want her to have something better than I had. She needs a role model like you. To this young teenage mother, it was really important for her daughter to have a strong female in her life. And I try to be that person every single day. Ladies, whatever path you choose, wherever you are in your career, you can make the decision I made 5 years ago to achieve a whole new level of fulfillment. Be courageous and say yes to as much knowledge and experience as you can get. Be bold in execution, rack up wins, and grow into a leader. When deep down inside you know you're ready, stake your claim to the seat at the winner's table and be generous by helping others find their way there too. That is confidence to the core. Thank you. I think we're done here. Thank you.